Hi everyone, right, welcome back to update number 3 of server cabinet build. I'm going to vlog this one a bit because I'm halfway through working at the moment, but it's getting a bit exciting, so I thought I'd show you all. Anyway, here you go, here it is. This is just it outside where I'm working on it at the moment. So we've got a few new alterations, as you can see, or added additions. So first thing is obviously the back is now on. Now this was on last time, but I don't believe I put the insulation in. I've actually shown you guys my insulation sound deadening. It's this stuff down here, let me just grab it for you. And we bought this in B&Q. It's actually underlay for the floor. It's got a silver side to help reflect heat and a what I believe is like a fire resistant membrane type stuff. Very similar to standard sort of Rockwell insulation. But anyway, so that is on all the sides. And if we go around the back, you can see this as well. Other than this bug, there's a bug. Bug gone. Anyway, you can see this. This is what I actually want to show you. This is the first. This is actually going to be my output for my cables. You can see my hand comes through. Straighten up the camera. There's my hand. Hey, hey. So it comes through. So that's going to help. One, obviously, that's going to have the cables come through. But two, that's hopefully going to seal off a lot of the air pressure to keep it in. There's going to be one down here, but because I need to feed a mains lead through it to do the power, I had to put an extra notch in which gets covered up when I put the frame on. So I can't actually put it on yet, ironically. As you can see, that is on solid as a rock. I've got my intermediary top, as I'm calling it, on the top here. And the idea is you've got the top of the actual, I guess you'd call it, server area. And if I come back around the front, we will talk about the electrics in a minute. You've got two holes here, and the air gets sucked up from there, so that's all your hot air, which obviously comes out of here, high, above these fans, and then comes along here and up. I've only got one fan here. I've got a gap effectively big enough for probably two small fans there. And the idea is that it will come out of here, and I'm going to put another top set on top of this one and the two sides, and the air will get shot out the back. Now this edge is going to get cleaned up here once it's all done, but I didn't need to do that till towards the end, so I decided I'd wait. Now one of the other big things obviously is that the electrics are in. I've still got to do some cleaning up of the wiring, but as you can see all the fans are spinning. Now it was a bit janky to do, I'm not going to lie. You've got the power switch here, and that switches everything on. Now, it might very well look like this is spasming out of control, but it's not. In real life, it's solid. It's just the camera. And then I've got this as well for charging up my USBs. So, I bought that off of Amazon. It's actually meant for boats, but boats, cabinets, practically the same thing. And it just sits there and just tells me the voltage. What I quite like is that I can fluctuate the voltage a little bit. Let me just see if I can reach my button, which I can't. There it is. You can see now it says 12.1 volts. Again, I know it's a bit janky, but I apologise for that. But I've got my main cabinet on and off button. Then I've got this down here, which is supposed to be, let's move these out of the way then next to talk about my fan controller. Now they are actually lit up red, as you can see, but with a bit of luck I can change them. So that's green, that's off, and come on, that is now not responding to my touch. So this is going very well, isn't it? Give it a clean. See that? I am going to clean this all up properly shortly. I'm just not there just yet. Well, anyway, just trust me on that one, okay? Yeah, you're just going to have to trust me. But it will be blue to go with that and that. So, that's it from the electrics. I've also got these. Old school, I know. They were up in my loft. A pair of cheeky, honestly they're red, but they are pink. A cathode tube, so actually they were bound to go colour I didn't want them to go, so pink cathode tubes. What I'm going to do with them is I'm probably going to wire them in somewhere along the top or possibly down the back edges down here, once I got the sound deadening in, and I'm just going to use them just to give me some backlight if I'm ever looking in the cab for anything. They do have their own on-off switch, so if I go like that, you can see they're now off, but that's independent from everything else, which is ideal, so I can turn them off when I'm not using them. Now this is my proper bird's nest at the moment. You've got your fan controller, then all of this mess here is the wiring to get the mains to work. So I've got my adapter here which sits on the 20 pin with 3 cables coming out of it that turns the system on and off, and all my other sort of DIY cabling mess is that in there. Now that's going to get all tidied away nice and neat in here, and that is going to control all the power flow to it, the actual case fans and all that. Once I get it upstairs and actually into the study, I'm going to turn all of the fans down to the absolute minimum and then do some testing for the thermals and just see where I can get it to go as quiet as possible, and that way if I'm doing anything intense I can crank the fans up, rather than thinking if I want to keep it quiet I have to crank them down. That's about it. Both the side panels are done, they're just over here. Here they are. So I'm just letting the glue on these dry so that the insulation on the back will stick nicely, and then they will be going back on this so that I can attempt to create the top to go along here. Like I said, this will be clean, so you have a big old gap along the back here, so they're going to go along the top, and that's going to help push the air out the back, and then it'll be painting. I intend to have all of this black and all of the outside will be white. I haven't quite worked out how I'm going to do the doors yet, because the door effectively is going to come from the top here, it's going to be in line with this bit and just down. But I'm going to have to do some sort of barn style door. Again, haven't really decided just yet, and I haven't decided how I'm going to tidy up the cables. But we're making some real progress. There's a nice bit of traffic, which we needed. So yeah, we're really getting there now. I don't know if you saw this in the last video, this was me starting to put the insulation down. Insulation, sound deadening down. I know that most people go, that's acoustic foam, it's not for sound deadening, yada yada yada, I get it. This is more for the sound deadening, this material, but this is to help stop the sound reaching it in the first place. If it's reverberating around inside a bit, it's going to lose a lot of momentum before it hits it. So as you can see, I've put a bit in here and a little bit there. I was going to finish this off, but the problem I get is every time I put it down, it ends up collecting crap loads of dust. So I decided not to do that. So that's it really. Yeah, basically, stay tuned for the next bit. Oh, one other thing I will mention, just because of the fact that it was proper janky. I don't know if you're going to be able to see in here. Let me just try and get this to zoom in. Wobble. That is the back of my switch. It is messy as anything. It's actually 3 wires held on with glue gun. The reason for the glue gun, as opposed to using soldering, which I did try to do to begin with, is that my soldering iron isn't very good, but also it kept causing shorts. So the button wouldn't work, and everything just stayed on permanently, which doesn't sound like too much of a problem unless you want to be able to turn it off. So glue gun insulates and holds in place. Perfection. And that's about it. The only other thing I will show you is my other purchase, which you can probably already tell I've had to use, are these. I bought this on Amazon. It's apparently an official Phobia extension 3-pin Molex ultra long 90cm black cable. The long and short of it is, the ones that come with the fans is just not long enough for these guys down here. And as you can see, the 90cm ones actually aren't really long enough, because I've just drilled a hole here to run all the cables through, and that itself doesn't really, you know, give me a lot of slack on it. So I'm actually going to have to use additional extensions on these two over here, just so that I can tuck the cables around, probably behind there, and then alright, just a quick bonus update for you whilst I'm at it. I've just been doing some of the insulation on the top piece, or the intermediary top, or however you want to word it, and a bit of the wiring. So I've been tidying it up. So you can see I've still got a fair bit of mess to sort out here, but until I work out the cathode tube locations, I can't really do much about them. But this is the top now. Originally this was a bird's nest going everywhere. This adapter has to sort of be semi-loose because it's for the fan down there, which obviously you can't reach at the moment. This is also semi-loose, just to allow a bit of wiggle, just in case anything gets tugged on. But all of this is held in now. So what I've been doing, chassis is an easy one, but I'll just point to it down here. Putting a little bit of a cleat in with a zip tie through it. Just doing one there, one there. There's one over here to hold all of this in place. Yeah, nothing for this one because it needed it. And then one over here just to hold that down as well. As you can see, that keeps it relatively low, completely out of the fan's way. So when I turn the fans on, they are now spinning at full speed. Nothing gets in the way. When I put the top back on, which again will have all this in, it should still have enough clearance underneath for air to flow nicely, whilst also still deadening the sound, which is exactly what we want. So there we go. My plan for this is that this will eventually be mounted under here, not in here, and it's fed via under half. And in theory, I might see about putting the tubes sort of along the very top piece here and maybe along the bottom, but I haven't really decided yet. But there you go. And then from this side, you can see I've got all of this space here now. I'm probably not going to bother to put much in the way of the actual acoustic foam up here, because it's just probably not going to be worth it. But I might well put a piece through the middle or something, just to help sort of control the sound, as it were. There we go. Anyway, that was it. Thanks.